We wanted to tell an honest story, but in the end of the day, we wanted to tell the story of the suffering and exploitation and abuse of these animals.
I mean, I feel like it was very authentic. Nothing was made up.
You know, I've met all these people in person and they come off on camera exactly the same way.
I think we wanted to humanize people.
You know, we were always very honest about our intentions.
I don't think really any of us knew exactly what was going to be going on in the documentary.
I mean, there's so much missing from it.
You know, a lot of the murder, mayhem, and madness was being done on the part of the directors too. They were really creating an image.
They create a lot of things that really don't exist, and it's sensationalized things.
In my view, the biggest con artists of them all were Eric Goode and Rebecca Chaiklin. I believe they are devoid of integrity, don't care about the animals, and clearly do not care about the truth.
We didn't want to make a didactic documentary where we were telling people what they should think and feel, but more allowing them to get there on their own.
They made me look like a meth head hillbilly. They didn't even go into that I'm 6 years clean. They didn't really go into like my teeth.
He has that big old smile there, and that's how I always saw him. They made him remove his bridge work to film him so he'd look like a burnout meth head, and they always made him take his shirt off. They're creating that vibe.
Doc was super tricky. He never dropped his card.
You know, he would tell us that our documentary that we were working on, that we were making, would never go anywhere. And he would say, you know, you don't know what you're doing. No one cares about this. This is boring.
I just thought he didn't know what he was doing, but he had such an alternative plan. Because this dude came to me and just said, hey, I'm making a show about wildlife education, conservation. I got Richard Branson, and I'm a turtle dude. I'm the #1 collector of turtles in the world. The dude's got millions in turtles.
In the early 80s, when I first made some money, after opening a nightclub, I bought some tortoises, and I bought them, and I had them in New York City, and any chance I got to travel, I would go and see them in the wild and drive girlfriends crazy.
I got a phone call from the Bronx Zoo about 15 years ago, asking me if I would take 250 very rare turtles and tortoises from the Bronx Zoo.
Honestly, part of my life, I think I was actually part of the problem, because I actually would keep them and you know, love to be around them. And at a certain point, I realized that these animals need to be in the wild and not for me to really keep them.
We definitely expected this to be much more of sort of Blackfish meets Best in Show.
5 years ago, Eric Goode and Rebecca Chaiklin approached us saying they wanted to make the Blackfish of big cats in captivity.
Caroll has this message and she's very on point and she wants to get it out there and she's super calculated and passionate about it. So immediately she was like, great, somebody's doing something about this crisis in this country.
We trusted Eric and Rebecca when they told us that this documentary was going to be a meaningful piece of work that was going to be designed to expose the abuse that these poor cubs endure during the cub petting time and the miserable lives they lead in roadside zoos after that. We have turned down numerous people who came to us wanting to film because we did not think that they were going to do something meaningful. We thought they just wanted to do something sensational, and we didn't want to be part of it.
Originally, you know, the show wasn't supposed to be about, you know, Joe being arrested or anything like that. It was just supposed to be about like the big cat underworld. So, you know, he got arrested and like the whole story changed. It became like a completely different storyline.
And I think he was just going for what he thought would cause the most flagrant insanity of murder, mayhem, and madness, right?
We also believed them when they insisted that while Joe Exotic would be in it as one of the characters, he would not be the focus.
To have this revelation that Joe, in fact, or allegedly had hired hitmen to kill Caroll, you know, that just, you know, put it into the stratosphere. So, I mean, we were, you know, how could you ask for something even crazier?
And there were so many wonderful aspects to Joe. You know, you gotta love a openly gay, mullet-wearing, you know, flamboyant, country-singing man in Red State, Oklahoma.
Joe has a heart, for sure, 100%, which is why I got on board in the first place. We both had this passion and charisma for animals in general.
You know, you kind of had a little bit of a heart for the guy,
but you really didn't realize or get to see how evil he really could be. Not only to animals, but to people. Nobody liked Joe.
I love Joe unconditionally and like forever. Because he's honest to God, a really good man.
Joe was not a good person. And so I just think it's important for people to understand that these people create their own little bubbles, their own little universes, whether it's Joe or Doc Antle. They are basically charismatic cult leaders in a sense.
17 of the 25 of us are directly related. And every other girl that was on the outside in there that isn't my daughter are the significant others of the staff. They just went at that, and they said that made us a cult somehow. They centered only on the chicks, right? They took it all out. Nick and Robert dudes, there's 12 of them here, and none of them were in the film. They edited every bit of it out, created this girl-only vibe. When Cody's the star, my grandson's the other star.
They really portrayed everybody to be, exactly how they are, in my opinion. I've met everybody except for Doc Antle and James Garrison. I haven't met him or Caroll, but
I mean, look, I don't think anybody is purely evil. I think there's always shades of gray.
We also believed Eric and Rebecca when they told us that while they felt they had to mention the disappearance of Caroll's husband, Don, 23 years before, as part of the context and background on her, that it would be done in a respectful and truthful way. Not only did they lie about that, they never even gave us a chance to respond to many of the false claims that ended up in the documentary.
For me, I was introduced to it as she killed him and fed him out to the tigers. That's how I was introduced to Caroll.
Well, sanctuaries are supposed to be close to the public, and she's open to the public. She charges $36 for somebody to go in and see big cats in small cages. So I don't know how she can justify it or differentiate it from what we do.
We are getting nasty messages from people who believed it when Joe Exotic says that our cages are small. Those of you who have visited, of course, know that our smallest cage is the size of a small house, about 1,200 square feet, and the rest of them are much bigger. People can only visit the sanctuary going on a guided tour of 20 people or less. The series only showed the one day of the year where we have our annual event called the Walkabout, where 600 people come from all over the country and some from all over the world to visit the sanctuary, to raise money, to donate to conservation projects in the wild. But the series has people believing that every day we are just packed with crowds of people wandering around all day.
What Caroll and Howard are doing in terms of raising awareness about the issue of big cats in captivity, they should be applauded for.
Probably the real heroes in this story are those people that are trying to stop this behavior. And I just hope that people realize that and walk away knowing that.
The first person I thought that was guilty was Caroll Baskin. Feels like by the episode 2, and the first one she's after him, but then you start to see what she's up to and you go, it's kind of the same situation. She's got people over there going, if you work here for 2 years, you get a green t-shirt. Everyone's like, oh, I'd be in the back going, I don't hear anything about money.
We know so much more than that documentary showed. Netflix whitewashed a lot of it, I think, because of legal exposure from something they can't prove.
I find it hard to believe that people can actually ask me, Rick, was it really that bad? Trust me, it was a hell of a lot worse than what you saw in the documentary. They didn't have enough time or footage to be able to show you how bad it was.
I think they were just saving a lot for more episodes is actually what I think's going on.
I did think it would be successful. I think we were very fortunate to stumble upon such an unbelievable story.
We never thought that it would end up in this crazy true crime direction.
What I'm not sure anyone can imagine is how difficult it is as a husband to have the woman you love so grossly mistreated by people who we trusted and betrayed us.
The thing that Tiger King is not, a documentary. This is a show about sensationalism, trying just to create content.
I think if we had pitched this as a scripted series or scripted feature, people would have thrown this back in our face because it just is unbelievable. How can you have characters like this? I think someone would have said this is not possible. but truly reality stranger than fiction.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny. Thank you so much for watching. For more video essays about movies, feel free to drop by the channel, and to support CinemaStix, you can like, share, and subscribe, or find me at patreon.com/CinemaStix. Until next time.